for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
And on this St. Patrick's Day edition, we're getting you ready for baseball. About 45 minutes, we'll join the pregame, top of the hour. Game moved up, so it'll be ECU and Elon. And able to do the show today. We're thankful for that. I'll be on television, top of the hour, on ESPN Plus with Courtney Layton for ECU softball as they take on Elon. Both ECU softball and baseball hosting Elon today. Clearly, they had to have taken the same bus down. Clearly, right? Had to have. All right, we're going to get to a top 5 during the 4-hour today, but first we go to Parts Unknown. Friend of the show, our great friend, one-time ECU assistant, and he led Farley Dickerson to a win in the NCAA tournament. A couple of tournament appearances, I do believe, as the head coach. Here is the one and only Coach Greg Herenda, big TV star on Fox Sports and ESPN Plus, and he joins us here. Coach, how are you?
Patrick, I'm great, man. It's happy. Hey, do you get a lot of love on St. Patrick's Day or not? Tell me the truth.
I get no love any day. That's the absolute. I know the
feeling.
Love. Yes.
Well, you deserve it. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody in Greenville out there. I know still have a lot of dear friends. I'm trying to squeeze in the ability to get to Big Guy's retirement celebration. I don't know if that's public or not, but he's going to be sorely missed. But today, Tuesday, this is the day we won a game in Dayton, Ohio in 2019. So every Tuesday when the tournament starts, it just kind of gets my blood pumping. It's an exciting time of the year.
I want to get your take on the bracket and even the NIT matchups tonight, just some thoughts. You know how I like to just throw games at you and let you go. But take us in that world, because NC State's playing tonight. I mean, there are others, but you know, you find out Sunday night, and that's literally when you find out where you're going to be, and then to turn it around. Years and years ago, Jerry Wainwright told me they had a deal where they found out Sunday night they were going to the NIT and played that Monday, and he said it was like it made National Lampoons look timid, as far as, the vacation. So give me a little bit of that. Because you're in 48 hours, you're tipping it off.
Well, what happens before that, you're going to the tournament because you got an automatic bid to the tournament from winning that game. We were the NEC champions and the Northeast Conference champions. So you have an idea of 4 or 5 teams that you're probably going to play. So before then, your assistant coaches are breaking down tapes of those 4 or 5 teams. You know you're going on Tuesday or Wednesday, possibly. And we played on a Tuesday. And then you just get right to work. We had a great Sunday. We had an open practice. So we got our work in on the floor. Had our alums, had everyone that wanted to come came to the game. And then we had the midnight, or I should say the Sunday selection show. And then at midnight, you're just breaking tape down of the team that you're playing. The next day you're flying, so you put your practice on the plane. Always do that. So you get practice in Monday morning, and then Monday afternoon early afternoon you're flying to Dayton, Ohio. And this year, I guess they got a huge snowstorm. UMBC missed their shoot around by 3 hours this morning. And then you're playing on Tuesday. But it's a whirlwind that you would absolutely take your best friend on and all your classmates and your family. It's great because when you get to Dayton, people don't realize this. The people in Dayton are awesome. You walk into your hotel with a band. Every employee is out high-fiving your play. You just feel like you're in the Final Four, Patrick. And then you turn around and you play. So I went there twice, lost once, and then we won the second night. And then the crazy thing is, we had to fly Tuesday night after we beat Prairie View. There are two planes on the tarmac. One is taking the team home, and the other big plane takes you to the next round. And that plane took us to Salt Lake City. We flew through the night to Salt Lake City, and then had to play Gonzaga, who just lost to St. Mary's in their conference championship game. So really difficult, but the best times of our lives. And this is, I think anybody would love to be in the shoes of the teams going to Dayton. NC State, I know, is probably wishing they were in the 64 field, but Dayton is not a bad trip. Trust me.
Do you think that the field should be expanded to where maybe there's 4 additional first 4 games? I don't know what the math would be on that, but where basically
Right.
the first 4 is kind of its own thing in different cities, perhaps. Although Dayton does a fantastic job. I mean, when you look at that, should that be, or should they add another round? Which, I guess they could play next week. I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts on expansion?
I'm old school, man. I'm 100% against touching the tournament. I was fortunate that they touched it enough that I got in it. When I was a kid, when I when I was a kid, it was 32 teams, and you had to win your conference. And then when it went to 64, I think that was the magic number. I think it's probably gonna go higher, but I think right now your bubble teams, there's got to. I'm not a big hand out a trophy guy. After every tournament, everybody gets a trophy when you're 7 years old. I think you have to earn it. You have to fight for it. And I think the expansion gives too many people opportunities, and now it just gets watered down. I know that sounds real old school and antiquated, but I think the fans just want it. They want to keep it simple, and I think right now it's getting more complicated. The college basketball world it's way out of control. And now if we touch the tournament, we're touching the thing that makes NCAA basketball, what it is, and it's madness. And I think if you add to it, then it becomes muddled madness. And I don't think we need to be muddled anymore in collegiate athletics.
No, pretty muddled right now. We've got Greg Herenda with us here. All right, you've seen the field, obviously. Out of all the regions, which one is the most challenging region in hand-to-hand combat for you?
Yeah, I think probably what I'm going to say is what you've heard the last few days. And the East region, if you look at it, you have the most historic coaches, right? I mean, you look at it and you have, other than Duke, and that's a really good young coach, but you have Rick Pitino, you have Bill Self, you have Tom Izzo, and you have Dan Hurley, who's won 2. So I think that to get out of that region is going to be, really, really difficult. So I would say the most difficult is the East. And again, I'm still confused. And I know St. John's is in the East, and I'm an East Coast guy. And at East Carolina, we all remember that we beat Rick Pitino. Okay, let's not forget that in Minges. But St. John's is in the East, and they send them to San Diego. So I still haven't wrapped my mind around that. But I just think the East is the toughest bracket out of the 4.
I do think it's difficult to take a team that did win the Big East in the regular season and the tournament, and they're a 5th seed. That's hard for me to kind of wrap my mind around a little bit. I'm not saying they should have been a 1 seed or maybe even a 2 seed, but certainly they should have probably been a 4 and had a little more favorable treatment as far as the schedule. The Heels, those hated Tar Heels, get the 6th seed and yet get to play in Greenville, South Carolina, which is just mind-boggling to me. that they
Right.
did that.
It's the Tar Heels they've benefited from a number of decisions, over the years. And you have to look at
You
it a
think?
little bit and and say there's some politics. Now, when you get a number of athletic directors or a number of any sect of people in a room from all over the country, politics just you can't avoid it, and guess what, Patrick? I saw VCU play live at George Mason. I did a number of Atlantic 10 games this
Yeah.
year, mostly Davidson basketball games. VCU is talented. They can really score the basketball. They're long, they're athletic. There's no fear. VCU's history in the tournament speaks for itself. So that's, I think the geographics really helped, the Tar Heels, but the team that they're playing, a different story. That's going to be, a bunch of people are picking that to be an upset, especially with the key player from North Carolina being out. So I don't. Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting first game of the tournament for North Carolina.
Houston was a host school, and in the summer they handed that hosting responsibility off to Rice. So Rice is the host of the Sweet 16 and
Yes.
Elite Eight, in other words, the regional final. And lo and behold,
Right.
Houston winds up as the 2 seed of the South, and they find themselves 15 minutes from their campus, if that. If they make it all the way through, or at least they make it 2 rounds to the Sweet 16 and a possible regional final if everything's chalk with Florida. I think they're going to be incredibly difficult to beat in Houston.
They're tough to beat anywhere, but to be in that to be in that pocket in that bracket. You have a rematch of last year's national championship, right, in Florida. In Houston, I think St. Mary's and Texas A&M both. I just have a hard time with Houston's offense. I watch them and Kelvin's a native, right, of North Carolina. I knew Kelvin back in the day when he was an assistant. We jumped in a cab together, driving, recruiting somewhere, somehow, probably over 30 years ago. Great guy, great coach. But I don't like them offensively. And I think in the tournament, you can guard and beat people with defense, but you have to be wary of teams like St. Mary's. They're very, very talented offensively. A&M that's Billy Ball, isn't Texas A&M Billy Ball, where you get pressed, the game opens up. So I'm not sure. I don't think it's a cakewalk for Houston to get there. But again, geographics, politics come into play, and like Houston's in a really nice spot where if they take care of business the first weekend, you're right, they go literally a stone's throw from their campus, so that's a huge advantage.
And they start out in Oklahoma City, which is, from Dallas right up the road, so it's a good spot for them. Real good spot for them, and a good spot for Duke as well. I think Chicago for Michigan potentially is really strong. We've got Greg Herenda with us here. Let's talk about the other 2 number 1 seeds. We kind of alluded to Florida there in the South with Houston, but I've heard it said that Arizona seems to have kind of a primrose path to a regional final, perhaps a Final Four. Michigan did show a little vulnerability, I suppose, the last couple of weeks, losing to Duke in what I think was maybe the regular season game of the year. But then Purdue, who all of a sudden has kind of found their stride after a really good early season start. Look at the Boilermakers all of a sudden winning the Big Ten championship. So how do you see those other 2 regions, the Midwest with Michigan, the top seed there, the 3rd overall, and then Arizona out west as the number 2 overall seed?
Yeah, I really like Arizona, Patrick. They're very, they're very athletic. They're deep. They're strong. They guard. They can score. To beat Arizona, their second game, it will be Utah. Now, Utah State is going to give Villanova. That's going to be a great first round game. But whoever plays Arizona is going to have a very difficult team. That entire bracket, and I believe NC State, if they win, is in that side. Gonzaga's
Yeah.
over there. Purdue. Matt Painter lost to a 16 and a 15. So
Yeah.
Matt, and he's also taken a team to the Final Four. So they're kind of a wild card, but obviously a tremendous team, Big Ten champions. But I like Arizona out of there. Michigan is, who really impressed me the other night? I watched them for the first time, believe it or not. I'm here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Virginia, again, is, was right there with Duke. And I mean, I don't think the one thing I got to say, Patrick, when I was a kid, okay, now we're just talking basketball here.
Yeah.
The most embarrassing thing that could happen to you as a kid is getting your shot blocked. Okay.
Yeah.
You would, on the schoolyard, you get your shot blocked once, and it's like, okay, he ain't get me again. And I couldn't jump over anybody, so I was like a shot fake master. But Virginia, when you have a rim protector like Virginia does, and they have really, really good offensive players, and that's a quiet, scary, 3 seed. And I don't know if it's that quiet, but I like Virginia. They'll wind up playing probably, Tennessee. Alabama now lost a kid, or maybe they got him back. Who knows? Anything's, capable at Alabama. But, I like Virginia in that 3 spot.
We have Greg Herenda with us here. Let me ask you about tonight before we get to some other, opening round games that are catching your eye. You got UMBC and Howard. Kenny Blankney and Howard.
Yep.
UMBC, of course, was one of the, I think, the first 16, oddly enough, to knock off Virginia. Now the guy's coaching Virginia, Ryan Odom. And then we've got Texas and NC State. So if you had to pick, because these have actually gone back and forth, on the Vegas lines, especially Texas, NC State, it's bouncing back and forth. So, and they're tight. They're really tight according to the odds makers. So, 2 tight games. Do you have a feel for either any of the 4, or their winner, or maybe what does it come down to in a game that's probably going to be pretty evenly matched for both of them tonight in Dayton?
I think locally, NC State is a wild card, right? Like they, have a high ceiling, but then they can lay eggs. I mean, they did it and lose by big numbers. And those teams that do that scare me in a tournament, because you just don't know. But they're obviously talented. They have to make shots. Sean Miller at Texas is a solid. I like Texas. I like Texas to beat NC State. I know we have a lot of NC State fans probably listening in. The next game tonight, refresh my memory on the next game tonight.
We got UMBC and Howard.
Yeah, the Retrievers, they can really score. I've seen them a number of times. Jimmy Ferry, the North Carolina fans out there will remember, he was the head coach of LIU, the Blackbirds, and put 100. I want to say that was one of the craziest first round games. I think they might have scored 100 on North Carolina and lost like 111 to. It was like a crazy, crazy game. Jimmy Ferry's a very underrated coach. I know Coach Blakeney is a really, really good coach, more probably defensive oriented. I'll take the Retrievers of UMBC tonight. So I got UMBC in Texas. I'll go on record.
Okay. All right, there we go. Any games that are standing out in the first round to you in the tournament that or a team that you think might be a little bit of a surprise that gets to the second weekend, perhaps?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are talking about, well, number one, VCU. South Florida, South Florida is a team that just wins, and I covered the Mountain West, and for a while, Utah State only had 1 loss, and it was South Florida. So South Florida plays who, Patrick? I know you have it in front of you probably better than I. But that's going to be, I think they might.
Louisville, South Florida and Louisville.
Yeah. That's going to be an interesting game. Don't be surprised, Penn, Illinois, Fran McCaffrey, the head coach of
Yeah.
Penn, who was the head coach of UNCG down here, is a tremendous coach. Now he's going back to Big Ten. It's going to be tough to beat Illinois, but that game is going to be scary. Who else? You know what? Cal Baptist against Kansas, like the 4-13 game, like doesn't usually happen, but that's going to be close. I think there's going to be the first round is going to be, you're going to be excited, but then the deeper you get, it's turned into a tournament of, Power Four conference teams, with the SEC getting 10, the Big 12, so forth and so on. But I think early, and I think that's the magic of the tournament, is that early, there are going to be some games, but as you proceed in the tournament, the chalk is the chalk, and the top four seeds. It's, you look at Duke, Florida, Arizona, and Michigan. If Michigan didn't have the injury, I love Michigan.
Sure.
But those four teams, to beat any of those four teams is going to take, a Herculean event. So it's, I love Tuesday, Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday are the two best days, right? And then Saturday eliminates some monsters, and Sunday does the same. And then after that, it becomes kind of a lot of really high powered teams. And then I, as a college basketball coach, even lose a little bit of interest. But this week here, Tuesdays, Wednesdays gets your appetite going. And then Thursday, Friday is like, no one works. I'm a New Jersey guy. Everyone in New York City is just like literally, it's worse than any holiday in America. Like everybody, and again, it's gambling now, right? It's just, it's legal in so many places, and the brackets, and it's money, it's basketball, it's tradition, and you put it all together, and it's the best time of the year if you're a college basketball fan.
So you go with South Florida. I got another one I want to ask you about because I know you saw him this year. In the West, High Point, the 12, Wisconsin, the 5. High Point can score, man, and their experience. They're not going to come in to that one on Thursday at all shaky. I don't think.
100 High Points. They've won 30 games. People forget. I think they're. You figured it out if you win 30 games. But like Greg Gard, that's a very interesting matchup, Patrick. You hit it on the head. Greg Gard in Wisconsin is just solid, right? So they're going to guard. They're going to try to keep this game, down in numbers. And I've got a number of friends at High Point living in this area, so I'm pulling for the Panthers. But I just think Wisconsin is a tough, physical. It's a great matchup, and I'd lean towards Wisconsin in that game, but I would love to see, High Point put a number up on them, but that's going to be a tough one for High Point. But another really good, a 5-12 game, which those are all exciting.
Coach, good to see you again. I'm sure we'll talk to you before the tournament is up, and enjoy this week. I think it's going to be a lot of great basketball.
No, Patrick, please, again, always. I had unbelievable memories at East Carolina. Tell Henry Hinton, Mike Steele, big guy. I missed that place,
all of
but
them.
all of them, and then on top of that, all the Larry Messer, one of the great.
Yeah.
He was my
good man
across the street. Good man, and. Just good people and good times. And I just really appreciate you having me on, man. I want everybody to enjoy the tournament.
Great to see you.
Let's get the Pirates back. Let's get the Pirates in the tournament, man. We got to do that one year.
Just got to get them in the conference tournament at this point. That's what we got to worry about at this point. All right, Greg, I'll see you later, buddy. Thank you, brother. There he goes. Greg Herenda with us. One of the best. He's a priceless guy. All right, we're going to do you want to do a top 4 at 4, Pilk? We want to do that?
That works.
Will that help? All right. for time constraints, top 4 at 4, and we'll have that for you when we come back. Special edition Patrick Johnson Show.
And now, the stunning conclusion.
Why is everyone screaming?
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, we're going to do a top 4 at 4 as Pilk joins me here. ECU baseball coming up. Pre-game in a few minutes. First pitch with Elon, top of the hour, we'll discuss. Pilk, I'll just go with the numbers here to save time. And also, since the intro says 5, we're just going to do a top 4 since we're on the 4 o'clock hour today. Here, whoa, hang on. Here we go.
Number one.
Alrighty, Pirate Nation, get your swords out and your muskets. It's time to slay a phoenix, a pair of phoenix. But there's no plural for phoenix, so it's still just phoenix. Because we got Elon in on the diamond, both on the softball and the baseball side tonight. Top of the hour. I'm with you, PJ. You mentioned in the opening segment, I think they bust together. I think it's like middle school, volleyball and baseball, how they play the same schedule and they bust together. I think they're going to ride the same bus. Remember Elon a couple of years ago, we had a softball game, and Elon's bus broke down on the way, and we had to postpone it like an hour and a half. You remember that?
Was that Elon or Central that happened?
Oh, it might have been Central. It was definitely one of those,
I think it was Central.
Raleigh Metro
down or
type
caught on fire.
Yeah.
Well, Elon's not the Raleigh Metro, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Elon.
They were dark red. They come from I-40.
So what are we talking both here in the same?
We're talking both.
I think we are. Yeah. I don't know enough about the baseball. I'm not calling the game, so I obviously will go back and review it. We have a little clip thing that we can go back and kind of see the highlights from. So I'll do some of that. Of course, we'll have UAB in this weekend. I'll be on the call for all 3 of those for TV. So I'll be familiar. I did talk with Cliff Godwin yesterday, as I know Igo did on the air, but we talked with him, or I did, in a kind of pre-production call. I think the big story for East Carolina, and how much will we see Ryan Towers? I guess they're going to go with him tonight. Maybe it's been announced. I just have not seen it. But now that you've got the situation with your Sunday starter, how do you navigate that? Is that a Towers spot right now, depending on what ends up ultimately happening there? Do you try to whole staff it? The strength of this team through it all has been, okay, they've got some frontline starting pitching, potentially. So how do you work through that now that you've got the injury or possible injury? Yeah. And I would think regardless, on the short side, it would be for baseball, maybe a week at best, couple of starts, but long term, who knows? Softball is interesting tonight because they're going to, because of the turnaround. So the ECU softball team got in very late because they weren't able to adjust their flight out of South Florida. So after playing a doubleheader Saturday that ended in the middle of the afternoon, they were waiting around Boca Raton for a day and a half. You could do worse than waiting around Boca Raton for a day and a half. And but their flight didn't leave till late, and they were delayed because of all the stuff going on around the country with the TSA and the weather. So, it was a pretty late arrival back into Greenville on Sunday night / Monday morning. And so off day yesterday, obviously, from practice. And now you've got a thing coming up where you have to almost treat this as a way for you to get your pitchers their work in this week. So I think this is going to be, we're going to see a bunch of pitching changes. And interestingly enough for Elon, who's played like Alabama and some other big schools on their schedule, they're really concentrating, okay, how do we set ourselves up for UNCW this weekend in the conference? Because that's what matters to them at this point, is what goes on in the conference. So 5 o'clock radio and 94.3 The Game in the IBX Media app for baseball, ESPN Plus. For both baseball, but the main feed on ESPN Plus for the Pirates will be the softball game with Courtney Layton and myself, friend of the show.
Number 2.
Number 2, sticking to the diamond tonight, 8 o'clock, Venezuela and the United States in the World Baseball Classic Final. PJ, I know some people wanted another shot to beat Italy after Italy beat us, but the atmosphere that the Venezuelan fans bring, it is going to be Game 7 like tonight down in Miami with the Venezuelan fans, the American fans. I am so pumped up for this. I don't even think the people in Italy know this damn thing's going on, but I can guarantee the people in Venezuela don't only want to win this thing, but they want to beat the U.S. at their own game on their own turf.
Right. And there will obviously be a lot of Latin support in Miami for this. I think it's great. Look, to me, this event is where you kind of, tonight would be a really let's pay attention night, for me at least.
Yeah.
It's maybe more of a cash because it is the semifinal and it's kind of like the final. Oh, it's the championship last night. Okay, well, that tells you how little I've paid attention to it. And I hate to break your heart, but I don't really care. And so, look,
unpatriotic.
I know people that do. It's not unpatriotic. It's realistic. And so, look, I hope it's great then. I hope it's great. I got other things on the brain. I'm more excited about basketball, Pilk. I'm sorry. I just don't know what to tell you. But I know
Thursday and Friday are religious holidays.
Okay, what does it come down to tonight then, Mr. Patriotic? I follow every pitch guy. Tell me what it comes down to.
I think it comes down to just kind of the back end pitching. There's a lot of rules as to how often you can throw in this thing. And when you get down into the 6th, 7th, 8th inning, you're going to be throwing out some guys that we've heard of, but not guys you think of as superstars. So who's back in bullpen can kind of piece this thing together?
Aaron Judge seems like he's been pretty good in this from what I've been able to kind of follow.
Yeah, he has.
He's good. Might be is he the best player right now, Pilk? I think he is.
Yeah.
He's the best player right now in MLB. I don't think you can deny
your
that.
boy PCA was giving him a run there at the beginning of the season last year, but
that's Judge is the guy.
3.
All right. Speaking of holidays and what we really do care about, college basketball tonight. The first 4 does begin from Dayton. A lot of people crap on the first 4, PJ, but I'm excited. It's still the NCAA tournament. We got the Retrievers of UMBC. You got Howard. Those 2 teams are located near each other, and then NC State and Texas.
Give me Howard just because I like Kenny Blankney. He was one of my favorite players growing up on those great Duke teams that won championships. So give me Kenny Blankney and Howard. He's done a great job there. The top of the MEAC's really strong with some good coaches and decent teams, and Howard has become one of them. And then give me, I hate to say it, give me the Wolfies tonight. I'm gonna go with the Wolfies tonight. I know it's toggling
the
back and
Wolfies have
forth,
not been playing good ball.
But no, I think Will Wade's going to get them ready for tonight. They'll win a game tonight, and they'll be bounced in the first. All the NC State people that hate message me and hate text me when I talk about the realities of WPN, they now should be. We'll see if we hear from them. I doubt I will. I doubt I'll hear a word from them. But I'm gonna now watch me be wrong. I'm going against Coach, but I think that is where we wind up tonight. I'm going to pick the Wolfies.
You can't even say it without
I'm going to go with Howard.
You.
All right, give me your picks real quick, big boy. Give me your picks.
I'm going to go hook 'em.
Okay.
And I like this Retrievers team, man. I think the American East is just a better league than the MEAC. I think they beat a very good Vermont team the other day. With the Duke connection, you kind of want to pull for Howard. With the Kamala Harris connection, you kind of want to pull against Howard. So,
That could be the funniest thing you've ever said.
4.
That could be the funniest thing you've ever said.
All right, number 4. Not good to be a college basketball coach in the state of North Carolina, at least for some of them.
Crazy.
UNCG, Mike Jones out. And Aaron Fern, surprisingly, this morning. We found it out. I was driving over to the studio, got some texts. Aaron Fern out at Charlotte after a 17-17 season.
Let me just address one thing with the UNCG thing. The speculation is would Wes Miller go back there, and I some don't think he will. He of course was fired from Cincinnati, but Deontay Neal, who is a great not only basketball player at Reidsville but a great football corner for Reidsville, was going to UNCG to play basketball and decommitted when they fired Mike Jones, who by all accounts a lot of people say is a great coach. So I wonder what was going on there because they did have a down year this year, but they had won 20 games or more for several years in a row under Jones.
Yeah. It always kind of seemed like they were one of the favorites in that league
Yeah.
too. I mean, yeah, they were
here's
7
what,
seed
here's what
this
needs
year.
to happen. Coach Schwartz, Coach Harrell, get together, pool your money, go get this kid Neal. I know everybody, 5'9". Trust me, Deontay Neal can play at a high. I mean, Carolina wants him in football. He could play both sports. App State supposedly said, hey, you can play both. So go get on Deontay Neal, especially from the basketball standpoint. I think he's a better guard than what we had on the roster this year, to be honest with you. The Charlotte thing with Fern surprises me. And you made a great point. They're paying out a ton of money right now to Poggi, to their AD, and now to Aaron Fern. I mean, you add that all up, it's about $5 million they're paying.
It is. Yep.
Where's that money coming from?
I know some donors at Charlotte, but they're not that big of donors.
Well, what's the plan at Charlotte? It seems like there's no plan at Charlotte.
No.
I don't understand.
Chaos.
It seems that way. All right, baseball next. We'll be back tomorrow, our normal time at 5 o'clock with more of the Patrick Johnson Show, and I'll see you in a few minutes on ESPN Plus for softball.